Remember several weeks ago, we took a journey together, and it was a journey back in time. We traveled way back to the West Indies in the 18th century, to Bridgetown, the capital of Barbados, and the crown jewel of the British Empire. We heard the crunch and grind of the sugarcane presses. We saw the waves lapping out in Carlisle Bay, and we saw the ships anchored there, groaning under the weight of human cargo. We heard the snap of the slavers' horrible whips, and the clink of money in the sugar barons' pockets. Exotic and prosperous and very brutal, it was the London of the West Indies, where, as author Tristram Hunt has said, conspicuous displays of wealth mingled with the blood of slaves. But we also heard something else, something in the background of all of this, something that was far from English and very, very far from brutal. It was the twanging, rhythmic sounds of an African instrument that had found a new home in the West Indies, some of the first banjos in our hemisphere. And last time we talked about the banjo, we looked at the parts of the instruments, different playing styles, clawhammer and stroke style picking, and the basics of chords and fancy licks, trying to gain an appreciation of the instrument's place in Appalachian culture. Today, we're going to build off what we learned already. I'm going to take a look at the basic principles of banjo tablature, which is what I gave you, and how to use a capo to change keys and move up the neck, and how to vamp and play soft background rhythm while somebody else is picking the melody. And hopefully by the time we finished here, we'll have come to understand what a comfortable and approachable and friendly instrument the banjo really is. And who knows, maybe some of us will be inspired to take it up too. We'll see. So first off, let's talk about banjo tablature. If you'll take a quick look at the sheet I gave you, this is an example of banjo tablature. It's the banjo picker's version of sheet music, and it's laid out specifically for this instrument. It's a lot like sheet music, but at the same time, it's really nothing like sheet music, so you'll see what I mean in just a minute. Just like the usual staff lines for regular sheet music, banjo tablature has 5 lines, and each one represents the 5 strings on the banjo. From top to bottom, it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And now you notice inside each measure there are numbers on the staff lines. This is where we start to get away from standard sheet music and really just flat out get into the banjo world. According to Ben Clark, who is an authority on the instrument and a banjo instructor, better known as Banjo Ben, the numbers on the staff line tell you where to fret for each string, where to put your finger down and hold it down. A 0 means play the string open. A 1, like on the 2nd line, means fret the 1st fret on the 2nd string. And a 2 on the 4th one mean fret the 2nd fret on the 4th string. I'll get my numbers right in a minute. Like that, and so on. So you see in the 2nd measure right here on What a Friend We Have in Jesus, we've got several open strings and a 5, so it'd be like this. Something like that. And let's see. Down here at the bottom of the staff lines, you usually see letters. And most of the time it's an M, an I, and a T. And that tells you which finger on your picking hand to play the string with. If it's an M, it's your middle finger, you use your middle finger. If it's an I, you use your index finger, and a T, you use your thumb. And there are also some special left hand movements that can be thrown into your playing that are either essential to the song or just used to spice up the playing a little bit. And tablature will almost always show you those movements too. If you see an SL, that means a slide, and on here it's replaced with kind of a little squiggly line between the numbers. And it's in the 1st measure between 2 and 3. It means you slide from the 2nd fret to the 3rd, like that. If you see a P or sometimes PO, that means a pull off or a push off. It's 2 words for kind of the same thing. You fret it and you pluck the string and then pull your finger back off. Makes a good banjo twang that way. If you see a C, that designates a choke. That means you put your finger down and you pluck the string and then you bend it up to make the sound bend. And if you see an H, and that's used an awful lot, that's a hammer. You pluck the string open and then you hammer your finger down on a certain fret to make it bounce. Sometimes you can do that without even plucking it. It makes the sound. And at the top of the staffs, you see big capital letters. Here it's G, C, G, and D. Those are the chord changes. It tells you exactly where to go as you play through the song. Now, the piece of tablature you have in your hand is What a Friend We Have in Jesus, and I'm going to play it part way through real quick so you can see how all the tablature pieces sound when they're put together. So. And that's pretty cool, isn't it? It's basically following exactly the way the tablature says to do it. I may have thrown in a couple of extra things in there, but I didn't mean to. So it's almost exactly the way it is right there. Now, I just played that song in G, in open G tuning. But what if we've got our banjos and we're playing with a fiddle player or a guitarist who wants to play it in the key of A? Well, that's not really much of a problem if we've got a capo. This is a capo. And a lot of capos are like mine. They're kind of like big old clothespins. And they're used to hold the first 4 strings of the banjo down on a certain fret to bring you up a key. And to be able to do that, you use the bar chords on your banjo. It's where you flatten one finger across one fret and it makes the chord. This one is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And to go up a key, you take your capo. Then if we're going into A, I'd take it and put it right across here at the 2nd fret where you make your bar A chord, and that puts it in the key of A. And that leaves your hand free to fret and do whatever you need to do and not have to hold this finger here and try to do it with just these 3. But listen for a second. Listen to this 5th string. Sounds a little funny, doesn't it? It's not really in A. It's just those 4 strings. So we got to do something with 5th string. Now there are 2 ways you can do this. There's 2 basic ways that you can do it. There's something called a sliding 5th string capo. And it's basically like this one, but it's a lot smaller, and it clamps on just to the 5th string, and you can slide it up and down wherever you need it to go. But what I have on mine is these little pegs right here, up in, I don't know if you can see them, they're kind of far away. There's one right here, and right here. And according to Deering, the famous banjo manufacturer and the company that actually made this one, these pegs are basically model railroad spikes. And you put them into the neck of your banjo, and the head on them extends out just a little bit more to one side. And what you do, because this 5th string has to be up higher than the first one, you take the string and you hook it underneath that spike, and makes it go up 1. So now we're completely in the key of A. It sounds just right, just like in G before. So we play What a Friend We Have in Jesus using the exact same finger positions that we used before because we've got the capo on. So. Exact process for any key with a bar chord, moving that capo up, B, C, D, G, wherever you want to go. But now what if we don't want to play lead all the time? What if we don't want to pick the melody? What if somebody else is going to be doing that? And how can we play in the background with them? Well, we can vamp. That old standby dictionary, Merriam-Webster, defines vamping as a short introductory musical passage, often repeated several times before a solo or between verses. But in bluegrass music, The definition is extended just a tiny little bit, and it means that to include playing a run of notes as rhythm in the background without picking the melody. You just change chords with the tempo of the song and keep a roll or a plunk and pinch going. So it'd be like this. Those were the first few chords to What a Friend We Have in Jesus. And if a fiddle player or a guitarist was playing the melody, I would be doing that in the background to help keep the rhythm, because that's one of the main things a banjo does in a bluegrass group, is help keep that rhythm going. But if the person who's playing the melody is not playing very loud, maybe it's a mandolin and it's not as loud as your banjo is and you don't want to overpower it, you can change up two things in your rhythm. Well, the first one is pretty obvious. With your right hand, don't pick it as loud. Do it a little bit softer. But you can also do something different with your left hand, and that is not press the strings down as far as you have been pressing them. Just kind of hold them there. Make it enough to where it would change the chord, but just do it lightly. And it mutes the strings just a little bit. And you can stay in the background and keep it from ringing and overpowering everybody else. So, folks, that is our second banjo lesson. Today we've talked about the basics of tablature and how to use the capo and change keys and move up the neck, and how to vamp and do soft background rhythm to back up the other instruments doing the melody. And I'd say that we, and probably the folks in my class too, after all this, are just about ready to start another bluegrass band. So really, the banjo is truly an approachable and very friendly instrument. It just lays everything out there for you and just makes you want to jump in and play. And the only thing left for me to say is go get some picks and try it out too. You can borrow my banjo, but not for very long. I'd like you back. So, thank y'all.